I first started our financial firm back in October of '09, one of the biggest concerns that we had originally was, how are we going to compete against these other guys we're competing against when they've raised tens of millions of dollars and we don't have any money to raise? It was all my money that we started off. How can we compete against these guys? And we lost several agents initially when we started the company because they all came and looked at me in my eyes and they say, Pat, you're going to go out of business. Everyone's going to be affected by this. This is the biggest mistake you're making. You shouldn't be doing this. It's going to hurt a lot of people, but I stuck around. Why did I stick around? Because in my gut, I did not believe that financial capital was the most important form of capital, and I'll explain to you here in a minute why that is. I didn't believe that. But in reality, there's 9 forms of capital, and I believe one of them is the most important one, but I want to explain to you what are these different forms of capital and how it helps you as the entrepreneur. So, first of all, the one we hear about all the time is what? We hear about financial capital, right? We always hear about financial capital. Most people ask me and say, hey, Pat, man, I feel like the reason why I can't be a business owner is because I don't know how to raise $1 million. I don't know how to raise $10 million. I don't know, how do I raise $5 million? How do I raise $500,000? I need a lot of financial capital. Well, when there are people who start off with a lot of money, say a person has a lot of money, and they may have the money, they may have a decent idea, but they have the money, there is not that level of urgency. But that is one form of capital. We'll get back to that here in a minute. The next one you don't hear about a lot, I'm going to explain to you what this means, is spiritual capital. What is spiritual capital? What are you talking about, spiritual capital? It's literally what it means. The spiritual capital is when a community is targeting a product that they are from that faith base, from that religion. There's a lot of products in entrepreneurship that are tied to a certain faith, to a certain religion, and that person has an advantage because they know exactly how that faith thinks or how that community and that religion thinks. So that's what you call spiritual capital. Next one is land capital. Let me explain to you what land capital is. Land capital is, let's just say, for instance, you have, 10 acres of land in Napa Valley. Hypothetically, your grandparents had it, they left it over to you, and you want to start a wine company. Well, you happen to have the land in a prime location that's for what? Wine. Why? Because the key to making the best type of wine is what? Biggest difference in temperature. The key to making the best type of wine is the biggest difference in temperature, meaning it goes very high and then it goes very low. That's exactly why Napa Valley is a prime location for land. And that's exactly what land capital is. Your edge when you're negotiating with somebody else is, I happen to have 10 acres of land in such and such and such place. Okay? I happen to have 100 acres of land in such and such place that we've never dug for oil, never have, and within a 10-mile radius, 17 different people have, and they've started whatever you may be saying, right? Okay, but that's land capital. Next one is social capital. Social capital is a cause, a crusade, a group of 50, 100, 200 people that have bought into a cause, and they want to do something about this cause to make a difference around the world. You cannot buy social capital, but a social capital is from the heart. The social capital comes from feelings. The social capital comes from, I have to make sure we correct an injustice. I have to make sure this becomes a reality. That's one sort of social capital. So a lot of companies would love to invest in social capital. Why? Because their biggest problem is social capital. So biggest problem. Land capital, they can always buy the land if they wanted to. Spiritual capital is one you need this if you want to get into this, but it's a very small, minute community of people. The next one is cultural capital. What is cultural capital? So for instance, you come to me and you say, hey Patrick, I am trying to, I know this product that we created, and this is mainly tailored towards the Filipino Tagalog speaking community, because this is and I understand their culture, very similar to the spiritual, but it's more cultural. I want to focus on the cultural side, and I know exactly what they need. No problem. In this family, the way they do their weddings is a 3-day wedding, and we wanted to start a business because there's this business in India where it focuses on the Indian community, on how their weddings are done, and we specialize in this, and this is what we have. And all our products are imported. So anybody that wants to do the wedding here for the 3 days, we do this, and the package is $50,000. And if we do 50 weddings a year, that's $2.5 $2.5 million in top line revenue. We do 500 is $25 million. And there's this many people that get married in America. The Indian population is, let's just say, 6.5 million people. And 6.5 million people, there's this many people between ages. So we're projecting that there's going to be 1 million marriages in the next whatever. And let's just say 50% is the marriage. So that's the calculation, cultural. Got it. You make your argument for that. The next type of capital is experiential capital. What is that? I'm starting a technology company and I have experience in technology. I don't have any money started with, but I worked at Google, I worked at Facebook, I worked with, Zuckerberg. I was his number 7 engineer when Facebook first got started. I know exactly what's going on over here and I got experience for it. I'm just, hypothetical. I have experience in having worked with this area, and what I know is I know weapons very well, and I think right now with the gun laws that are taking place and all these challenges that are going on in America, I'm very good at selling guns and I understand who needs it, and I know that community and I have a lot of experience in whatever. I mean, this sounds weird things I'm throwing out there to you because there's so many ways to make money in business. Intellectual capital. What's intellectual capital? Simply intellectual capital. We're talking about, patents you may have. We're talking about trademarks you may have. We're talking about know-how, knowledge. We're talking about, wisdom, but it's intellectual capital that you have in that area. Then the next one is natural capital. What is natural capital? We're talking about, renewable energy. We're talking about things like that is natural capital. And then obviously it's material. What's material? Tools, machinery, things like that is material capital. This is all different forms of capital. Most people think the most important type of capital is this. Again, I said this at the beginning. Most people think this is the most important form of capital. You got to ask yourself which form of capital you have. So if you yourself need this, you better have one of these. By the way, this is the easiest one to get, just so you know this. Easiest one to get. If you want this, you better have one of these. So what case are you making as you're trying to raise your money? If you want to raise your money from a company and say, I need $250,000. Why? Let me tell you what intellectual capital I have. I have patents on the following 3 items. Okay, great. Awesome. What else? I have experience because I work with ... and I know how to do ... Okay, great. What else? And the market I'm trying to connect with is such and such market, and I fully understand the Silicon Valley culture because I've lived there for the last 19 years. Okay, sounds good. So that's the questions they're going to be asking me. You got to have an argument for it. Another one could be, well, I need to raise some money. How much money do you want? $500,000. Why should we give you $500,000? Perfect question you ask. Let me explain to you why it is. 1, I have 7,800 people that are part of my network who all are soccer moms and want their kids to have uniforms for soccer, and they don't like the uniform that they're currently buying from everywhere because their skin itches and it gives them rash. And I have found this such and such material from whatever place that is an anti-itch and it's comfortable with kids' skin and it can work with any type of skin and it's more gentler on them. And our competition are the 5 different companies. They're going to be doing this. These 7,000 soccer moms that I sit as the chairman of the board for these 7,000 soccer moms in the community of whatever state it is, every one of them has already told me they're interested. And if I come up with one, they're very interested in that. So here's what I have. I have these 5 women that are wanting to help out with this. They're all in different chapters of this. I have social capital. Then you're going to ask, do you really know what you're talking about? I brought somebody who has intellectual. They're the ones with the uniform. And I brought somebody who has experience because this woman that I'm talking to, her expertise is fabric. She's been in fabric business for 28 years. And she knows what's the best form of fabric to have. Nike uses this, Under Armour uses it, this one uses this one uses this. The fabric Under Armour and Nike use, they quadruple the cost because they have names and we don't have a name, but we can start our own specifically for kids. And our Under Armour was more for football when they first got started. Nike was for runners. Ours is going to be mainly for kids. I'm just, again, throwing ideas out there. You may be saying, Pat, that's a great idea. Great, that's an idea. Then you go get this. Now, let's backwards. Now, some of you guys message me and you say, Pat, I have $20 million and I'm part of a seed fund. I'm part of this, small little fund that I started myself. I think Kobe today announced that he's doing $100 million himself. But let's just say you have $20 million. Maybe my LinkedIn audience asked me this question, Pat, I have, Several million, where should I invest? Can we partner with you? What do we do with you? These are the questions that comes up. Perfect. If you're on the financial capital side, so your struggle isn't money. Either you have the money because of a sale of a company, you were part of a company, the company went public, you had shares, you made $7 million bucks. Or you made your $4 million, $3 million. Death of a family, you have $17 million. You had inheritance that came to you. You have your parents that left their will or trust you, right? You could have something where a contract from sports. Several NBA players follow me on LinkedIn and send me messages about this. What do I do with the big contract that I just got? Perfect. You're here. Then you got to look at these on which one makes sense to you. But for you, as you're assessing what companies to invest in, you got to ask the question, what type of material capital you have? I'm sorry, they don't know what material capital is. Next question. You have any kind of natural capital? No. Any type of intellectual capital? Yes. What is it? ... Okay, that's good. You have the patent on it? Yeah, it's pending right now. When did you post it? 6 months ago. Okay. What type of experiential capital do you have? Oh, my cousin used to work at Google. My cousin used to work at Goldman Sachs. My cousin, whatever. My best friend just graduated from Harvard, and he's got 4 buddies. Good. Next, cultural. What cultural connection do you have? I'm a millennial. And what's your point? There's so many, 78 million millennials. But let me tell you what type of a millennial I am. I totally understand a nightclub life right now. I totally understand what vibes at nightclub and what kind of music. I'm in the EDM community. I know everybody in the EDM world. I listen to EDM. I know all the DJs on the EDM side. Okay, great. Where are you going with this? Well, the EDM community typically likes this at the clubs and the raves and the parties and whatever it is. And these are the 7 things. And we wanted to start something that's tailored to that because the potential of the market community is this, is that. Okay, so that's the culture. So what's social? What's spiritual, what's land capital, then make your decision. So it's very, very important to know this, but keep this in mind. This is very, 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 very easy to get. Very easy to get. That is so easy to get, okay? Very, very easy to get. Most people won't get it because their approach, maybe another time we'll do a video on that, but figure out what all your form of capital you have that's your leverage. In my opinion, this is by far the most important one. Social capital to me is priceless. A company with social capital is so valuable, so valuable. Words can't even describe how important social capital is. Apple didn't have financial capital. Apple had social capital. Facebook had social capital. These guys had social capital. There was a high level of belief that what we're doing is going to impact the world in a positive way. Social capital. So now, whether you're the person with the money or whether you're the person without the money, now you have a formula to use. Now, obviously, again, these are short videos. This is not a 3-day workshop that some of you guys are requesting for me to do. Hey, Pat, you do a 3-day workshop, I'll pay $4,000 to come to a 3-day workshop. I'm running a full-time business. We're not doing any 3-day workshops anytime soon. Hey, why don't you do a 3-day workshop? If we did, I could have more time with this. I don't. It's a simple message. You go do your own due diligence on this to find out about different forms of capital and how they can serve you yourself. So with that being said, if you have any questions or comments, you can post your questions on the bottom. You can comment on the bottom if you have any comments or thoughts. You like that catch? That was kind of like the catch from, what's the Giants receiver's name? What is the Giants receiver's name? Beckham? Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, it was one of those, remember that one catch you made with the stretch? I kind of like to imagine myself like that receiver, but far from it. Anyways, if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, do so. Click on the bottom over here to subscribe to the #1 channel on YouTube for entrepreneurs. We are shooting for 100,000 subscribers next. Our channel in the last 6 months has gone on a major surge like never before. Took us a while to get done. I almost hit the coffee and it would have been bad while you're drinking coffee in the office. Anyways, questions, comments, comment on the bottom. If you haven't subscribed, post your comments. Click on the subscribe button there to subscribe to the channel. And if you watch this video on a complete different website, you can always come back to patrickbedavid.com to see more content on that website. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.